He was born in the summer of his 27th year, coming home to a place he'd never been before.
Hi, I'm Kaye Spivey, and by the time you're watching this, I'm 27! I filmed this a little bit early because I didn't want to be filming and editing on my birthday. I'm officially 27 now. It feels like kind of a big landmark. I know nothing that exciting happens at 27. When I was younger, I always thought 25 was kind of the pinnacle of life for some reason. For some reason, that was the number that I chose. I thought 25, you're allowed to do all the legal things that you couldn't do when you're younger. You're still young, you're still healthy, assumedly. At least when I was younger, I assumed you were still in the fit of your life. And so I really looked forward to 25. My chapbook, An Isolated Storm, was published just before I turned 25, and 25 was a really good year for me. 26 was not so good. If you're an American, 26 is when you fall off your parents' insurance, and that turned out to be quite an expense for me, actually. Something that was not fun. Also, it was the first time I kind of had like an acceptance of like a realization that someday I'm going to die. 26 was the first time, maybe I'm lucky that that was the first time that I ever sort of had that anxiety in that moment of conflict. But that was the very first time that I was like, holy crap, someday I will die. And I think it was partly at 26 I passed that magical 25 number, and it was kind of like, well, where does it go from here? Well, it just keeps going. And 27, I think, is the year where it just keeps going. I'm gonna be 30 in a couple of years, and that's not that big a deal, to be honest. So that's really good to come to terms with. 27 is actually really kind of an exciting year for me. There are a whole bunch of songs about being 27. It seems like a year that a lot of songwriters wrote some of their masterpieces. I guess two specifically, Rocky Mountain High by John Denver, which I grew up in Colorado, so that song has always meant a lot to me, and obviously the first lyric is he was born in the summer of his 27th year, so yay. Also Landslide by Stevie Nicks, she wrote when she was 27, and the Dixie Chicks covered it when they were 27, or at least Natalie was 27 when she covered it. With Stevie Nicks's blessing, they covered it, and man, if you're gonna cover a song, doing it as a 3-part harmony like they did, it's absolutely stunning. They definitely did Landslide justice. I really like the Dixie Chicks version of it. Not that Stevie Nicks didn't obviously do the most fantastic job, but the Dixie Chicks did the best cover. Exciting 27 things. One of the most exciting things is that my book Fragments is now available for purchase. Fragments has been a many-year endeavor. I've been working on this so long. It's gone through so many different phases. I was happy to be able to include some of the poems that I wrote for my 100 Poems in 100 Days challenge, which was really exciting. A couple of those turned out really nicely, and some of them kind of culminated the work. I had been sort of struggling. There were some missing pieces in it, and I was able to sort of nicely fill in those gaps and kind of come to terms. And then the title of the collection actually had been Museum for a long time. I wanted to use muse as a thought, and I was struggling to try and fit that all together and to make the muse part work, and it wasn't happening. And then reading through it again, I included a poem that was actually the first poem that I wrote for the 100 Poems in 100 Days challenge, so it had been revised really nicely by that point. And I had titled it Fragments because that was part of a line that was in it. And reading through the collection again, Fragments stuck out, and I thought that's a really good title for this collection. So the 100 Poems in 100 Days challenge actually helped tie this whole collection together. So I'm really proud that I did that. Obviously I will link the videos for that down below. I have a playlist for my 100 Poems in 100 Days challenge if you're interested in checking that out. I also have a video for the pre-order release that I did 2 weeks ago when the pre-order started for Fragments, and I'll link that video because I read some of the poems in it and I explain the book, and I'm so excited. It's out now. It's finally out. So please order a copy, and if you have read it, please leave a review. I really want to know what you guys think of this collection because I'm so excited about Fragments. Going from here, obviously I'm going to keep writing poetry. I sort of slacked off. It was quite an endeavor to write 100 poems and then complete a poetry book, but that's all done, and so I've just been slowly getting back into the swing of just writing for myself, writing normally, just jotting things down as they come to me, and that's been a lot of fun. I'm also going to be working on a new project. It's not really a new project. I've actually been working on this project for how many years now? For 4 years I've been working on this project. I started it the summer of 2013, and that is my novel, which is right now being titled, working title is Circuit, because I like that idea of a circuit being electricity, but also of it being something where you come back around, you complete a circuit. I'm working on the first of what I would like to be a 5-part series. I sort of have vague ideas for all 5 books, because they're all slightly elemental themed. This first book is very much fire themed, and I actually wrote the rough draft of the second book, which is very much water themed, but there are some pieces that aren't really coming together, so I keep rewriting it, and I keep rewriting it, and I keep revising it and putting it on the back burner, and there's just some things, they're nagging at me that aren't quite complete. Then I had a new idea for the beginning, and I had a new idea for the characters, and I think my protagonist had been 18 because I wanted it to be sort of a young adult novel, and I think it makes more sense for her to be aged up just slightly. So I'm reworking it with her slightly older. I'm reworking the beginning. I finally read somewhere where someone mentioned that if your book's going to be fantasy, it might as well make the magic obvious. It might as well own itself. And I think I'd been trying to be very subtle. I'd been trying to go in sort of a, I don't want to say steampunk, but sort of a magic meets industrialism, sort of like Full Metal Alchemist. If you've watched the anime or read the manga for Full Metal Alchemist, where there's trains and there's some electricity, but there's a lot of reliance on magic as well. I think I'd been going in that kind of a direction, and I still like this era for them being an industrial revolution era. There's a lot of turmoil, there's a lot of change happening in this world. I know I'm being really vague. I really like that they're coming into a new age of technology, which is going hand in hand with magic. There's also a lot of stigma against magic. Not everyone can have magic. It is a genetic mutation. It is very dangerous, and it's a recessive mutation. It's a recessive gene, so many people don't have it. It's a very rare thing, and people who do can often be a danger to themselves and others. So it's very highly stigmatized, which is part of the plot of the book. And I had been shying away from showing too much magic, and I think I'm going to just jump in. We're going to have a lot more magic in it now, which I think is going to be more exciting, more fun to write. I've been trying to balance kind of a big cast of characters, and I've been thinking, should I cut some of them out? And I don't want to. I want to keep my large cast of characters. I want to keep them because each of them will play a part in future books that I've already planned. And you know the master plan, you don't want to spoil the master plan, even though it's vague. I'm going to be working on Circuit again, starting in these next couple of months. If life goes well, I'm going to be moving to Death Valley of all places. I'm not going to be in the Pacific Northwest with the rain outside. My nice window is over here with the rain falling today. I'm going to be moving to Death Valley, and it's going to be a big change. It's going to be very hot and very dry, but I should have a lot of footage of beautiful desert landscapes, and that should be fun. I'll be talking more about that kind of stuff once that happens. Probably in the dead of summer, it's when we're moving, but we'll see how it goes. Hopefully there'll be some time in there where I can really just get a new start on this novel. I think now I'm confident in what the vision is and in what the genre is. I think it had been struggling to be something that maybe it wasn't. I think the magic needs to come through, even though the main character, Rowan, which I love that name and I'm sticking to that name no matter what. I really love the name Rowan and it fits her. She is non-magic, and part of choosing the name is it's a very strong wood. and wood is not a conductor for electricity, and a lot of the magic in this world, it's manipulated by people through almost an electric current. It's almost like some people have like an eel gene. That's a really bad way to describe it, but in simple terms, I'm kind of working with that sort of idea. So anyway, so that's the project I'm going to be working on. Hopefully you guys go and buy Fragments and let me know how it is. Obviously I'll be beginning to work on more new poems, and probably within the next year I'll work on compiling a new poetry book. Obviously the last An Isolated Storm was just a chapbook, and it took me like 5 years to compile, and then after I published it, it took another 2 years before I got Fragments prepared, so bear with me. But if there's a lot of interest, then I'll spend more time really working on the poems and putting a lot of effort into them and trying to put out another collection sooner. Until then, I'm going to be putting some more effort into my noveling for a little while. I would also like to publish some short stories. There is a short story that I've been sort of fixing up that's quite a bit older that is kind of a companion piece to Circuit. So I'm just going on about my novel now. I'm just really excited. I'm just going to go on about my novel a little bit more. When I was much, much younger, I wrote a fantasy story that just kind of droned on, but the thought there was really interesting. It involved a lot of war. It was very much based on Fire Emblem. If you played the Fire Emblem games, I'm obsessed. I love them. I love that style of gameplay. I love the strategy game play like that, but also that you can have all these interactions with the characters. I love it. This is my favorite. As I started working on this new book, which is a more modernized version of that, the other story tied back in, and a lot of those characters influence how the world is set up today in Circuit. And eventually I might get to writing that one. It's a lot darker. This one is more sort of aimed at the young adult. It's more contemporary. It's more dealing with biases against people, which I think is very needed now. The other one plays in the dichotomy of kind of who are the good guys and who are the bad guys, and I think there is a lot of that out there right now. I think I'm just not prepared to write that story at the moment, but eventually I'll get back to that. We'll just see how that goes. We'll get to that eventually. I'm gonna finish the book I'm working on first. I think that's the most important thing. Thanks for watching my channel if you have been all this time. I'm really sorry I just ranted at you today. Cut me some slack because it's my birthday, or was my birthday. My birthday was actually Friday and I filmed this. I'm filming this on Thursday. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to do anything for Friday to do with this. I wanted to get this done, and then I wanted it to be up on Saturday, so yeah, filming this a little early. Tomorrow for me is my birthday, but yesterday for you was my birthday. So what I want for my birthday is for you to buy Fragments, please, and then to leave me a review on Goodreads and Amazon and let me know what you think of it. And yeah, and please leave me a comment down below as well and let me know what you thought of my ranting today. Hopefully this will be a really strong year for me. Hopefully a lot of writing gets done and completed and sent out. I would love to complete Circuit this year in a way that could be sent out to start looking for an agent. That would be my ultimate goal. Thank you for watching, and please leave a like and subscribe, and I'm gonna see you again next Saturday. Bye!
I took my love and I took it down. I climbed